how do you build the business utilizing consumer litigation finance, right? What's the value of it, really, besides just giving the client money?
So let's say you have Joe Smith, and he's been injured, and he is not able to work, and the insurance company says we'll pay this minimal amount of your health care, and it doesn't even really cover it, and but you're on your own, your job, and that that's your problem, and and the lawyer says, okay, well, we'll prosecute this, and we're confident we can get you the settlement, but it's going to take probably 18 months or 2 years. We don't know exactly.
Right.
And Joe Smith is sitting there, in his at home, with his foot up because had this massive injury. How does that all work? What's the mechanics of that?
Zane, you kind of nailed the issue actually with your question. And that is, how does it work? Okay. In reality, and I'm going to get very, this is really how it works. The client is basically calling the attorney a lot. What is the status of my case? Look, there's fluff around all of this, but that's the reality. When is it going to be resolved? I need money. And the attorney, who really is in business to basically prosecute these cases for their plaintiffs, wind up spending a tremendous amount of time utilizing a lot of their staff to basically try and placate a client who is in desperate need many, many times. And this kind of gets back to kind of where we fit in the ecosystem of all of this. And I'm going to make that distinction between the agent and the principal of where this money comes from to allow that to happen, right? So me as a broker sitting in this and not acting speaking as a principal, I'm not tied to any one resource of funding. In fact, I go out there and negotiate with several different resources of funding to negotiate the best rates for my plaintiff clients that are represented by these PI firms. But I do something even besides the economics and all the rest of that stuff. You could claim it's a commodity business, much like being a PI is really a commodity business. Where it doesn't become a commodity business, and this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire conversation, is how do you build the business utilizing consumer litigation finance, right? What's the value of it, really, besides just giving the client money? And what I'll say as an agent, and my numbers bear out, my research bears out, I serve as essentially a buffer by being an agent, not just providing, more cost effective terms for that client and for that PI, and not letting the client demand so much money as to overlever the case. I'm that buffer to help promote the firm, to say, client Jones, understand your attorney is really doing a fantastic job. He really needs time to be able to advocate for maximum value to your case. How much do you really need now to get you through these next 3 months, 4 months? I'm taking that upon myself. I'm not pushing that on to the attorney so that he seems like the bad guy. We're always protecting and insulating the attorney from this process. And by doing so, and what many of these attorneys don't realize, but the ones that do know how to leverage what we're doing and use it to advantages in their practices, realize I'm the best PR guy they could have.